As far as collecting data, helping me with compiling the data from investigations, helping me actually piece together what's happening, um, and just get that full picture. I'd say the best thing I've ever had is a 99-cent notebook.
Yes.
So, because that it records everything and it's right there and it doesn't take batteries.
Exactly. My husband laughs because if I go to TJ Maxx just to get their little $3 notebooks
Hmm.
that are thick and pocket size or at least backpack size.
Hmm.
And because I write terribly and I can write big enough that I'll be able to decipher it.
Hmm.
And but I do. I go and I've got piles of them. But because I keep a couple of them on my desk for different things and I get different kinds so they look different.
Hmm.
So it
Well,
just is so helpful.
and when I'm talking to someone about, they'll call us wanting us to come out and investigate, or they've got a question about something going on at their house. Usually, one of the first things I tell them is, to keep a journal, and I tell them, look, this I know this probably doesn't seem significant, but I'll tell them just to put this in scale for you. Out of every piece of equipment that I own and could possibly bring out to your house to collect information, this notebook, this journal that you're going to keep is going to give me more information than every bit of that combined. And it's, that's something that people forget the importance of, being able to look at that journal and see those patterns and spot the triggers and things like that. It's, um, you know, that is the same with any type of research you're doing or anything you're investigating, whether it be ghost or whether you're bird watching or, whatever you're doing. You've got to have a record. You need a
Yes.
journal, a log, and you need to be able to see those patterns. And well, on this day, this happened after this event or before this event, and there you go.
Well, Carl would like to know if you use dowsing rods.
Personally, I don't. Um, Now, I will say this about dowsing rods. They do respond to types of external energy. Now, whether it's paranormal or not, I can't say. Which is why I personally don't use them. But I mean, I have seen them. My, I will say I have used dowsing rods, but I've never used them on a paranormal investigation.
Do you use them
I
for
have
water?
used I used them for locating utility lines.
Oh, for the energy. That's
I had,
interesting.
yeah, back years ago, used to work for water department, and one of the old timers there taught me how to do that. And it was nothing fancy. It was a set that I made. It was literally some copper wire out of some power lines, that some scrap that they cut, and I made a set of dowsing rods, and he showed me how to spot it. And I used to use it, and it was quite accurate. What I would do is I would walk across the area with these dowsing rods, and when they would start crossing, that's where I would get the case out. They had my pipe horn or the big expensive piece of equipment out, and then actually mark the line and spray paint, and do all that to mark where it was buried. But yeah, they will absolutely locate power lines, TV lines, water lines, any kind of conductor that's in the ground. So that tells me that, they have to respond to something. No, like I say, I've never used them for paranormal, but yeah, that's they work somehow.
Well, I know that a lot of people swear by them, and I know a lot of people who would have gone thirsty for a lot of years without having faith in them.
Hmm.
But I just think that when I'm always a doubting Thomas if somebody else is doing it.
Right,
When it's me that's using them, I can't argue it,
right,
you know. And something that I think is a nifty, keen thing, and I'm going to get some, I haven't yet, are the ones that have the lights on them.
hmm,
So that when you're in the dark, you can tell what's happening. But then I'm like, well, doesn't that add to the weight? Don't you have to, yeah, shouldn't that be not just something you throw on them? Put nail polish on them or something of that nature. But
right.
because they have reflective polish. But,
You
it's a neat
know,
thing. And
next time I see somebody with a set of those on an investigation, I'm gonna ask to borrow them. I'm not gonna do anything inside the building or whatever, but I'm gonna go outside near where the water lines are and test them.
well, you don't need to say that you don't do woo woo stuff sometimes, mister. So,
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
no, you don't.
Just-
But, I think that that's one of my favorite things about investigating together is that you do bring, well, we both are fairly healthy in our skepticism. I know that things are there, things are there, that we've documented those in the past, but it's different somehow when you're working with somebody that shares that skepticism but is open to what could happen. That's not going to just automatically say, oh, whatever. That's so not paranormal. When
right.
the odds are it might be.
Yeah. There's something I talk about often is there's a big difference in the mindset of looking for answers or looking for an explanation versus the mindset of debunking.
Yes.
Uh,
There's two different things. Those are completely different.
yeah, because debunking is, that's
Debunking is a negative.
right. That, to go in with the mindset of, I'm going to debunk this is the exact same, just the opposite end of the spectrum as somebody that walks into a location saying, I know there's ghosts here. I'm going to prove there's ghosts here. You can't convince me otherwise. So what do? They go in and they find ghosts there, no matter no matter what's really going on.
And no matter that no one in 200 years of the history of that house has ever experienced anything.
Right. It's
Yeah.
it's the same. It's the same thing, just two opposite ends of the spectrum. When really, into any situation, we need to go in open-minded, be ready to accept if we get a positive or a negative, and say, okay, well, it's not ghost, but this is what it is, or we looked at it could be this, this, and this, but it wasn't that. It seems to be paranormal. You have to be um, balanced and ready for whatever it throws at you. The
Every time.
situation is. I have had things literally thrown at me, but that's
Do you know that I have not so far, knock wood, I haven't ever been struck. I've had things around me
mhm.
being struck, but I've never been bopped on the head or anything. So there's that. And yet you got wasn't it a table that was thrown at you?
I have. I've had a table get thrown at me, and it was it was one that was probably I would say probably about 20 inches across, little end table like you'd set a lamp on or whatever. But this thing had like a 1 inch marble top on it. I mean, it
Oh
wasn't
my.
light, and it didn't fall over or anything like that. It was actually lifted. We were in a bedroom that had two twin beds that were side by side, um, with maybe about 4 feet between them. And this thing was this will be the table was over kind of at the foot of the twin bed closest to the window, and it gets picked up and goes over one of those twin beds and lands like right in front of my feet where I'm standing in between the two twin beds.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that was crazy. That
Well, I can't. I just can't imagine. Wendy says that I'm going to get tagged on the next investigation because I said that. So could be, but I was honest. I just because everybody's talking about how soothing your voice is and how calming your voice is, and I'm like, trust me, he's a good guy to have around when you've ticked off the Native Americans in the woods around you. That remains to this day the only time I've actually stepped back, and when I
Mhm.
stepped back, I stepped behind you, like you could
Oh
protect
yeah,
me. So
yeah. That was definitely a unique investigation.
yeah,
That we and I don't know I don't know what was funnier. Looking back at it, actually that because that was so odd to me seeing you become unnerved because that was something it's like, whoa, did
well,
did
I
Cat
felt them.
just
They were mad, and I
uh,
was who ticked them off,
uh,
and I
but
knew why they were coming through those woods.
yeah,
So
that but I don't know what was funnier, that or seeing the reaction on Kim's face when I handed her the headphones and said, "Hey, listen at this," because we were live listening
yep,
through one of the audio recorders, and we were hearing Native American like the tribal drums beating, and here it is. Um, that was just after she had caught something moving through on the FLIR,
yep.
and I
Well,
handed her
they
the
were
headphones
kneeling
and
by
said,
the trees.
"Mm-hmm." And I say, "Listen to this," and she starts hearing these drums come through, and that look on her face, I've never seen her get that wide-eyed.
No, she was definitely alert from that point on because we had guests. That was a
Right.
public investigation, and we had first-time investigators with us. But we have to go to break because we're going to get into some other stuff too. But we'll be right back. Y'all enjoy this, and we will catch you on the flip side.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.